Hi guys, welcome back to 521. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to get the update when we upload a video, and don't forget to hit the like button in case you like our work. This time it's a video about, why can't you get off your phone? Why do you think you more time on your phone than spending time with your family or friends? What makes you busy scrolling the phone? Do you know what might happen if you are addicted to gadgets and you can't keep your phone down in a busy meeting or a family get-together? People also judge you by the way you keep your phone on the table. If the phone display is facing downwards, it means it's private, you don't want anyone to see it. If the phone display is facing upwards, it means there is nothing important, nothing private that no one should know. If your phone is in your pocket, it means you are interested in listening to the person in front of you. Or else you might constantly keep checking the notifications on the phone. Make sure you keep these things when you are on a date or a business meet. Now let's see why you constantly keep scrolling down on your phone. The long-running news program 60 Minutes is taking on the smartphone industry by uncovering the ways mobile app makers keep people hooked. Former Google exec Tristan Harris, interviewed for the episode, argues that we've been fooled into believing the technology is neutral argument. Instead, he says that software makers have mastered a sort of addiction code that keeps people compulsively engaged, such that we can't stand leaving our phones for even a little while. In other words, the technology has been manipulated to leverage our brain's habit-forming tendencies. Tech insiders call it brain hacking, and Harris argues that it's destroying our focus and relationships. This is a big topic that's close to all of our lives because most of us are married to our gadgets. I covered it from several angles in my book, What Makes Your Brain Happy and Why You Should Do the Opposite, and I'm refreshing the arguments for a new edition of the book coming out next year. With the 60 Minutes story as backdrop, I want to discuss a few of the angles here. If app makers have mastered a habit-forming code that's working over time on our phones to keep us hooked, what brain dynamics are they tapping? What really charges this up is the meta-anticipation of hidden gems of rewards coming into the mix. For every 50 or so texts, Facebook posts, Instagram pictures or whatever, just a few are going to really deliver the goods. We're neurochemically trained to drill down and down for these rewards, through however much mediocrity and nonsense is in the way. To elicit more rewards, we contribute to their reward stream by making our own posts and waiting for a response. Every time we post something, we're starting an anticipation stopwatch that works on the same principle. The jolt might even be more profound because it's coming from a reward process we initiated, and that's a brain boost with few equals. And what's fueling all of this compulsive reward anticipation? Anxiety. There's a debate about which model best describes why we get hooked on technologies. Some think the addiction model fits best, but the problem with that argument is that addictions operate with a distinct pleasure principle. Someone starts using a drug to get the euphoria or other sensations at the other end, whether for pain relief or otherwise. Over time the drug can't deliver the same way, so more and more is taken to get the effect. Same for behavioral addictions like gambling. The gambler wants the high that comes from taking the risk, but the risk has to get bigger over time to deliver the same feeling. What seems to better fit compulsive technology use is the anxiety model. It's not purely a desire for pleasure, but a response to heightened stress and anxiety that keeps us clicking. We're not talking about overt, panic-level anxiety. Anxiety is insidious precisely because it's usually not overt, but more like a charged hum in the background that seeps into our thoughts and influences our actions. Often we react to it without consciously thinking through why. Smartphones, it turns out, are short-term anxiety elixirs. Now let's see scary things you never knew about cell phone addiction. Number 1. There's a test for cell phone addiction. If you've ever been on Facebook, you know that online quizzes are pretty much human catnip. Here's one that might actually be worth spending a few minutes of your life on. The smartphone compulsion test, developed by David Greenfield, PhD, of the Center for Internet and Technology Addiction at the University of Connecticut School of Medicine. According to Greenfield, a yes answer to more than 5 out of the 15 questions indicates that a person likely has a problematic relationship with their mobile device. Number 2. Phubbing is a thing you know, that annoying habit your friend has of casually checking her texts while you're talking. Well, it's so common, there's now an actual name for it. Phubbing, as in phone snubbing. You'd never do that, right? Number 3. Social media apps are designed to hook you. Do you find yourself mindlessly reaching for your phone? Or refreshing your social media feeds, even when you just checked them minutes ago? Don't beat yourself up about your lack of willpower. The truth is, nearly every app on your phone has been expertly engineered to produce those very responses by designers skilled in manipulating brain chemistry to elicit addictive behaviors. Case in point, Instagram, Price explains, has created codes that deliberately holds back on showing users new likes so that it can deliver a bunch of them in a sudden rush at the most effective moment possible, meaning the moment at which seeing new likes will discourage you from closing the app. Number 4. Smartphones and slot machines have something in common, you know it well, that frisson of anticipation you feel whenever you pick up your phone. Well, psychologists have a term for that irresistible feeling of unpredictability, intermittent rewards. And guess what other common devices encourage addictive behaviors by preying on that sense that something exciting could happen at any moment? Slot machines. In fact, says Price, smartphones are basically slot machines we keep in our pockets. Number 5. Our phones are altering our brains. Do you feel like you can't concentrate anymore? Number 6. Apps are selling the most valuable thing we have. Yes, social media can be fun, but Price points out that it's important to remember that those apps are about more than just sharing selfies. Have you ever wondered why social media apps are all free? She asks. It's because we are not actually the customers, and the social media platform itself is not the product. Instead, the customers are advertisers, and the product being sold is our attention. This is a really big deal, because our attention is the most valuable thing we have. Number 7. There's a good reason tech innovators don't let their kids have devices. When you're a parent, reckoning with your own negative cell phone behaviors feels bad, but watching the same habits infect your kids is even worse. That's probably why, as Price points out, when it comes to their personal lives, many of the leading innovators in digital technology have chosen to shield their own families from the devices for as long as possible. Consider this: Steve Jobs didn't let his kids use the iPad. And Bill and Melinda Gates did not let their children have phones until they were 14. Now let's see how to keep you away from phone. Keep yourself on a schedule. The most basic step that Rosen suggests for weaning yourself off your phone is literally setting alarms specifying how often you can check it. Start with every 15 minutes. Then move to every half hour, every 45 minutes, or every hour. When your alarm sounds, spend 1 minute going through any and all notifications and then reset the timer. Turn off as many push notifications as possible. You don't have to be interrupted by every like that your latest Instagram picture receives, or with the message that your favorite podcast just released a new episode. An incredibly simple way to cut down on distractions is to turn off push notifications for as many apps as you can. Take distracting apps off your home screen. A lot of phone usage is unconscious behavior, according to Rosen. You shift from Facebook to Instagram, to checking the weather, to texts. But if you have to specifically seek out an app to use it, you'll cut down on the accidental time sucks that happen when you just start tapping around on your phone. Kick your device out of bed. Don't let your phone be the last thing you see at night and the first thing you check in the morning. By using a regular alarm clock and charging your phone out of reach, you won't be tempted to start your day by getting vortexed into an avalanche of messages and updates. Stay accountable. Want to judge your progress? Consider installing an app that tracks your smartphone habits, like quality time or moment, so that you can set a specific usage goal and see how well you stick to it. Comment your addicted apps below. Share this if you have your friend addicted to smartphone. Hope to see you soon. Bye.